Aging is not decline. It's a masterpiece in slow motion. We've been sold a lie. Aging, they say, is the beginning of the end. Wrinkles mean weakness. Gray hair means irrelevance. Slower steps mean you're fading from the stage of life, becoming a shadow in the background of someone else's spotlight. But what if I told you that everything you've been told about aging is wrong? What if aging isn't a breakdown, but a breakthrough? What if it's not the unraveling of youth, but the unveiling of wisdom? A powerful evolution where grace replaces rush, where clarity outshines chaos, and where presence becomes more magnetic than perfection. Let me introduce you to a woman who lives this truth. Ko, a 75-year-old from Osaka, Japan, who looks like she time-traveled from her 40s with nothing but a teacup, a handwritten letter, and a radiant smile. No surgery, no injections, no trending creams with 7-syllable ingredients, just a quiet, intentional life that turned time into her companion instead of her enemy. Ko doesn't chase youth. Youth flows from her. And here's what will truly stop you in your tracks. Ko doesn't fear aging. She honors it. She embraces it like a long-lost friend, returning with stories of survival, strength, and grace. Where many of us see aging as erosion, she sees it as refinement. Like a stone smoothed by years of river water, her presence is soft, strong, and steady. Western culture tells women over 50 to shrink, to become quieter, smaller, invisible. But Ko's life defies that narrative with every breath. Her very existence whispers, there's beauty in the becoming. Her steps are not slower because she's frail. They're slower because she's no longer rushing toward approval. She moves with the kind of calm that only comes from knowing herself. Aging, in Ko's world, is not a fight. It's not something to fix, cover, freeze, or fear. It's a sacred unfolding, a blossoming, a deepening. And that's the shift we need. Not more serums, but more reverence. Not more anti-aging slogans, but pro-aging truths. Because here's the secret. When you treat aging as decline, it becomes something to resist. But when you treat aging as a sacred chapter, it becomes something to celebrate. Ko isn't clinging to youth. She's radiating vitality because she lives in alignment with her values. She doesn't fade into the background. She glows from the inside out, because every wrinkle is a line of poetry, every silver strand a stroke of legacy. Aging isn't the end of the story. It's the part where the story gets real, rich, and worth rereading. And that's not decline, that's grace. Intentional living is her secret sauce, not a serum, a philosophy. Let's cut through the noise. The beauty industry wants you to believe that youth comes in a bottle, some overpriced elixir labeled renewal, age-defying, or miracle glow. They show you 20-year-olds pretending to be 50, then hand you a cream and say, "Fix yourself." But what if the real secret to radiant aging doesn't sit on your bathroom shelf, but in how you live? Enter Ko, 75 years old, and not just surviving age, but commanding it with breathtaking ease. At first glance, you'd swear she was in her 40s. Her posture, straight as bamboo. Her skin, soft as silk. Her eyes, clear, calm, and glistening with peace. But here's the kicker. She's never had Botox. She's never used collagen powder. She doesn't even own a smartphone. So, what's her secret? Intentional living. That's it. That's the whole world-shaking, mind-bending truth. She lives on purpose. Every day, every step, every sip of tea, done with awareness, reverence, and stillness. Ko doesn't get through the day. She crafts it like a sacred ritual. And that kind of living, it shows. When you step into her home, it feels like entering a sanctuary. Not because of expensive decor, but because everything has meaning. Her morning isn't a blur of coffee and emails, it's a ceremony. She lights incense, sweeps her wooden floor in silence, and brews tea as if it's the first time she's ever tasted it. Let that sink in. While most people rush through life like it's a checklist, Ko treats each day like a gift that deserves to be opened slowly. And that's the difference. That's the sauce. While we drown in noise, speed, and digital chaos, Ko is living with radical presence, and it's written all over her face. This is more than minimalism. It's not just some cute trend. It's deep wisdom rooted in centuries of Japanese culture, the art of slowing down, the power of noticing, the peace of daily rhythm. Ko doesn't run from pain. She's lost her husband. She's lived through hardship. But she doesn't numb herself. She honors the hard days with gentleness. She doesn't collapse into grief. She walks with it, cleanses with it, cooks with it. That's strength you can't fake. The West says, be busy, look young, stay relevant. Ko says, be present, move with grace, stay rooted. Her youth is not luck, it's not magic, it's an addies. It's not DNA. It's the byproduct of a philosophy most of us have forgotten, that small things, done with care, shape a beautiful life. Her life is proof. When you live with intention, you don't just look younger, you become ageless. Ikigai, the reason she wakes up at 4 a.m. and why you might want to. 2. Let me hit you with a truth bomb. Most people wake up tired, uninspired, and already defeated. They drag their bodies out of bed, not because they want to, but because they have to. Alarm clocks become weapons. Mornings feel like war zones. Sound familiar? Now picture this. A 75-year-old woman, Ko, rises without an alarm at 4 a.m. every single day, smiling. You heard that right. No blaring iPhone, no snooze button, no dread. She wakes up with purpose because she has something that most people in their 20s and 30s have lost. Ikigai. Pronounced Ikigai. Translation: a reason to live, a reason to wake up, a reason to exist. Ikigai isn't just a pretty Japanese word. It's a full-blown life force. It's a burning why, so deep and so personal that even at 75, you leap out of bed like your soul's on fire. For Ko, her Ikigai is simple, yet seismic. It's preparing a nourishing breakfast for her neighbors. It's watering the garden she planted with her late husband. It's writing haikus in the quiet before sunrise. These might sound like small things, but to Ko, they are sacred. And that sacredness, it's what fuels her. Let that slap your mind for a second. She doesn't live to retire. She doesn't live to rest. She lives to contribute. That's the power of Ikigai. It pulls you forward. It gives your life gravity. While most people drift through their days numb, Ko walks through hers lit from within. We've been brainwashed to believe that purpose has to be big, like launching a startup or saving the planet. But in Japan, especially in Okinawa, home to the world's longest living people, they believe the exact opposite. Your Ikigai doesn't need to be grand. It just needs to be yours. It could be making tea, tending to a bonsai tree, telling your granddaughter a story she'll never forget. Whatever brings your heart alive, that's your Ikigai. And here's the kicker. When you have Ikigai, you don't need motivation. You are the motivation. You stop chasing happiness and start generating it. Naturally, quietly, sustainably. Ko doesn't count her wrinkles. She counts her blessings. She doesn't chase youth. She embodies vitality because her soul is still in motion. There's no anti-aging cream on the planet that can fake what she's radiating. You want the real secret to aging with grace and fire. Find your Ikigai. Because the moment you do, mornings won't feel heavy anymore. They'll feel like a fresh page, a sacred calling. And when that happens, you won't just live longer, you'll finally start living. Moai, the lifeline that's keeping people alive at 100. Let's get real. Loneliness kills. Not figuratively, literally. It raises your risk of early death as much as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It wrecks your heart, your brain, and your will to live. And here's the brutal truth. Most people die long before they're buried, from isolation. Now picture a different reality. In a quiet Okinawan village, a group of 5 elderly women gathers at 6 a.m. every single morning, rain or shine, grief or joy, good health or hospital visits. They've done this for over 60 years. They laugh, they cry, they share food, secrets, and sometimes silence. But they never face life alone. They are each other's moai. In Okinawa, moai isn't just a word, it's a life-saving bond. It means a group of friends committed to walking through life together, no matter what. It's deeper than friendship. It's a soul pact. Think of it as your emotional emergency fund and your lifelong party invite rolled into one. Ko, who's now 75, has had the same moai since she was a teenager. They were there when she lost her husband. They were there when she fought cancer. They were there when she laughed so hard she nearly passed out during a tofu eating contest. When one moai member falls, emotionally, financially, or physically, the others catch her. No one suffers alone. No one wins alone. That's the code. Let that sink in. In the West, we're addicted to hyper-independence. We glorify hustling solo, grinding in silence, and cutting people off. But Okinawans, they survive and thrive through connection. It's not about being strong alone. It's about staying strong together. Want another shocker? In villages where moai culture is alive and breathing, rates of depression are nearly non-existent. Chronic illness, delayed, cognitive decline, slowed. Why? Because these people don't just have company, they have community. They've cracked the human code. You don't need 1,000 followers. You need 4 real ride or dies who'll bring soup when you're sick, crack jokes at your funeral planning meeting, and check on you just because your door sounded too quiet today. So, what's the takeaway? If you want to live to 100, not just exist, but really live, you need your own moai. Not fake friends, not flaky followers, but soul-linked allies. People you can cry in front of without shame. People who remind you who you are when you forget. People who don't just show up when it's convenient. They stay even when it's ugly. Ko's still dancing through life at 75, not because of luck or genes, but because she never danced alone. Find your moai. Or better yet, be someone else's. Because in the end, it's not the years that matter most. It's who walked with you through them. Rituals, the silent superpower behind a peaceful, purposeful life. Here's something no one tells you. The happiest people in the world don't wake up and wing it. They don't leave their inner peace to chance or chaos. They have rituals, and those rituals are sacred. In Okinawa, Japan, a 102-year-old woman named Fumiko begins her day the same way, every single morning. Not with emails, not with doom scrolling, not with coffee dripped into her veins. She walks barefoot into her garden, bows to the sun, brews tea with both hands, and whispers a quiet thank you for simply waking up. That's not a routine, that's a ritual. And in that tiny, silent act is her power. Rituals are more than habits, they're spiritual anchors. They calm the storm inside your head. They whisper, you're safe, you're grounded, you're still here. In today's world where every second feels like a sprint, we've forgotten what stillness feels like. We've mistaken busyness for meaning. But in blue zones, where people live shockingly long and joyful lives, ritual is the hidden thread tying everything together. It could be as simple as lighting incense before dinner, or bowing before meals, or tending to a bonsai tree like it's your child. These moments may look small, even silly, to outsiders. But to the soul, they're oxygen. Let me hit you with this. Scientific studies show that people who engage in regular rituals experience less anxiety, fewer depressive episodes, and even lower blood pressure. Why? Because ritual hacks the brain. It tells your nervous system, we're safe, we're in control, we're connected to something deeper than deadlines. Fumiko once said, "If I don't light my morning incense, my day feels crooked." Not wrong, not stressful, crooked, because ritual straightens the spirit. And here's the gut punch. You don't need a temple or a tea ceremony or a garden to feel this. You just need intention. Fold your laundry like you're blessing your future self. Make your morning coffee like you're preparing a gift. Turn washing dishes into a gratitude practice. Because when life feels like it's falling apart, rituals are the quiet glue. They hold you together, piece by sacred piece. In a world addicted to rushing, rituals invite you to pause. In a culture obsessed with noise, rituals whisper, "Be here now." And in a society that confuses chaos for success, rituals gently remind you, peace is a choice, and it's made, moment by moment, in the ordinary. So here's your challenge. Pick one ritual, make it sacred, repeat it like your life depends on it. Because in ways science is still trying to understand, it just might. Food isn't just fuel, it's medicine in disguise. Here's the gut punch truth no one wants to hear. Most people are slowly dying with a fork in their hand. Heart disease, diabetes, brain fog, chronic pain. It doesn't just happen, it's built, one bite at a time. But here's the flip side, the hopeful truth. Every meal is a chance to heal. And the people living in the world's longest living communities? They've cracked the code. In Okinawa, centenarians don't count calories. They don't chase protein macros. They don't chug green powders with names no one can pronounce. They eat what grows, what's colorful, what's alive. Their plates are rainbows of life, purple sweet potatoes, bitter melon, bright green seaweed. Not because it's trendy, because their ancestors did, because the land did, because their bodies remember the difference between food that heals and food that harms. Let this hit you. Americans eat more processed food than any culture in history, and it's literally making them sicker, sadder, and slower. But in blue zones, food isn't just survival, it's sacred medicine. They don't say grace because it's polite. They say it because they know what's on the plate can either steal life or give it. Their secret weapon? A mostly plant-based diet. Not vegan, not restrictive, just real, just earth-grown. Beans, whole grains, nuts, fruits, herbs, vegetables. Each one a tiny warrior, fighting inflammation, protecting cells, keeping minds sharp at 90 and 100 years old. One study found that people who eat beans daily reduce their risk of death by up to 8%. 8. From beans. And it gets crazier. The people in these regions don't take 20 supplements. They don't rely on caffeine crashes and sugar highs to get through the day. They eat slow, they chew, they talk while eating. They treat meals like rituals, not races. Here's the part no one's talking about. Food is emotional. It's memory. It's how a grandmother shows love. It's how families come together. And in blue zones, that emotion is nurturing, not numbing. They don't eat to escape life. They eat to enrich it. So let's get real. That quick drive-through dinner, it costs more than money. It costs your energy, your clarity, your peace. You want vitality at 80. You want to remember your grandkids' names at 90. Start by choosing food that looks like it came from the earth, not a lab. Every bite is a vote, for life or for disease, for energy or exhaustion, for vibrance or decay. Here's your wake-up call. Your fork is either feeding disease or fighting it. You choose 3 times a day, every single day. grief isn't something you get over, it's something you walk with. Here's a truth that will rattle your core. Grief is the price of love. If you've truly loved, you will grieve. There's no avoiding it, no shortcut, no escape hatch. But in the blue zones, the places where people live not just long but deep, they do something radical with grief. They don't hide it. They don't shove it down and pretend they're fine. They honor it. They bring it into the center of the room and sit with it. In Western culture, grief is treated like an illness, something to fix, something to medicate, something to silence. You lose someone. You get 3 days off work and a few awkward hugs. Then the world expects you to move on. But in places like Okinawa, Sardinia, or Nicoya, they don't move on. They move with. They don't forget the dead. They bring them along. Get this. In Okinawa, people keep photos of deceased loved ones in a sacred spot in the home, not tucked away, not hidden in albums, front and center. They talk to them, they thank them, they light incense, they remember. That's not superstition, that's healing, that's emotional oxygen. Because let's be honest, suppressing grief doesn't kill the pain. It just buries it alive until it explodes later. And here's where it gets deep. In the blue zones, ritual becomes a bridge between the living and the gone. They don't treat death like a tragedy. They treat it like a sacred transition. And the rituals, they're not for closure. They're for connection. Here's what most people don't realize. Unprocessed grief is one of the most dangerous stressors on the body. It can cause heart disease, immune breakdown, even early death. It's called broken heart syndrome for a reason. You can die of grief, but you can also be healed by ritual, whether it's lighting a candle every evening, or placing flowers on a grave each week, or preparing your grandmother's recipe while whispering her name. Those actions matter. They tell your nervous system, it's okay to feel. It's okay to remember. You're not alone. In blue zones, grief isn't rushed, it's respected. People are allowed to mourn for as long as they need. And here's the kicker. That sacred space they make for grief, it often becomes a gateway to even more life. Because when you honor the dead, you live more fully for them. So let this sink in. You're not weak because you cry. You're not broken because you miss someone every day. You're human. And that ache in your chest, that's love with nowhere to go. Give it a ritual, give it honor, and you'll find something astonishing. Grief doesn't shrink your life, it deepens it. Youth is not a number, it's a feeling, an energy that defies time. Here's the undeniable truth. Youth isn't about your age. In fact, the very concept of age is a prison we've created in our minds. And here's the shocker. Age doesn't determine how you feel. It's your energy that defines your vitality. In the blue zones, where people live longer and healthier than anywhere else on Earth, they understand this better than anyone. They've cracked the code that we, in the so-called modern world, are still trying to figure out. Age doesn't limit them. In fact, it's a mere afterthought. How do they do it? They focus on energy, not age. They tap into something much more powerful than years. They harness a vibrancy that transcends time. You see, there's a shocking misconception in our culture. We've been taught that energy fades with age, that once you hit 40 or 50, your best years are behind you, that your body will start falling apart, and there's nothing you can do about it. Here's the bombshell. That's a lie. Your body is an incredible machine. It can regenerate, rebuild, and revitalize itself if you give it the right fuel and motivation. In Okinawa, they don't look at people in their 80s and 90s as old. They call them living treasures. They view elders as the peak of wisdom, experience, and energy. They're still out there planting gardens, riding bikes, and dancing until the sun sets. Why? Because they understand the mind-body connection. They don't let age define what they can or can't do. But it gets even wilder. In the blue zones, people don't just resist aging, they actively embrace their vitality. Their mindset is that you're only as old as you feel. So they do things every single day. They keep their energy high. They walk everywhere. They stay active. They keep moving. But not in a fitness maniac kind of way. It's natural. It's seamless. It's built into their lifestyle. And this energy doesn't come from some magic pill. It comes from doing what your body was designed to do, moving and connecting to the world around you. They don't sit in chairs for hours. They don't fall victim to the trap of sedentary living. Nope. They're always on the move, working with their hands, walking long distances, and enjoying every minute of it. So here's your challenge. If you're reading this and thinking, but I'm not 20 anymore, stop. Your age is irrelevant. You are only as young as your energy. When you get up in the morning, do you feel like a powerhouse of possibility or a tired old version of yourself? Your answer tells you everything you need to know. Because it's not about how many years you've lived. It's about how alive you feel inside. So take a deep breath, stand tall, and start embracing your vitality, no matter what the calendar says. Because the real question isn't, how old are you? It's, how much energy do you have to give to this world? Cultural wisdom. Trump's quick fix commercials. It's time to wake up. Let's get real for a second. Commercial hacks are everywhere, and they're killing us. We live in a world that's obsessed with instant gratification, with the promise of a quick fix to all our problems. Want to lose weight fast? There's a pill for that. Need to get glowing skin? Slather on this cream, hoping to stay young forever? Here's a miracle serum. But here's the bombshell. Most of these so-called solutions are just empty promises wrapped in shiny packaging. They're not rooted in reality, nor do they stand the test of time. They're nothing but band-aids, quick ways to make you feel better temporarily while your health takes a nosedive. It's all a game, a marketing game. So, what's the real antidote to this consumer-driven chaos? Cultural wisdom. The people who live in the blue zones don't rely on commercial gimmicks or quick fixes. They tap into ancient practices and time-tested methods that have kept generations healthy, thriving, and energetic for centuries. This wisdom is handed down through generations, and it's not just about what they eat or how they move. It's about living a life that's aligned with the rhythms of the earth and the body. It's holistic, it's deep, it's transformative. You see, in blue zones, people don't waste their time searching for the next miracle product. They rely on practices that have stood the test of time, things like growing your own food, honoring your body with natural movement, and living in harmony with your community. What makes this even more mind-blowing? These people don't feel like they're doing anything extraordinary. They don't wake up and say, I'm going to live longer today. Nope, they just live, in tune with the rhythms of their bodies and the world around them. In Okinawa, for example, they don't take a magic pill to boost their longevity. They follow a principle called hara hachibu, which means they eat until they're only 80% full. This simple practice has been passed down for generations, and it works wonders because it doesn't overload the body with excess toxic food. They rely on fresh, nutrient-dense foods that nourish the body, not on prepackaged processed junk. In contrast, what are we doing in the modern world? Chasing after the latest weight loss craze, detox drinks, or fat-burning supplements. We're hooked on the quick fix, ignoring the wisdom that's been staring us in the face for millennia. We're drowning in marketing, and it's time to break free. The real kicker? The commercial hacks will never give you the deep, lasting satisfaction that cultural wisdom provides. Because it's not just about a quick fix. It's about a lifestyle that nurtures your body, mind, and spirit. It's about embracing the slow, meaningful choices that compound over time, leading to true vitality. So, let's stop buying into the hype. Let's turn to the ancient knowledge that's been around longer than any fad. Let's make real, sustainable changes that will stand the test of time, not just for us, but for generations to come. Because when it comes to health, the hacks don't hold a candle to the wisdom of the ages.